The Panthers have what I consider a really fun offseason coming up, and we're going to be along for the ride. Okay, they have stability for the first time. They have what looks like a young core for the first time in a while, but they do have some veteran decisions to make. I went and looked up all their free agents. There are some that are, let's just call them right there, they're tiny little decisions, but there's some more interesting ones. Andy Dalton. Couple of offensive linemen that played a decent amount. Austin Corbett, Brady Christensen. Couple of tight ends that played a decent amount. Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas. Shaq Thompson, franchise legend. Mike Jackson, one of the pleasant surprises in the secondary at corner. Pretty much every safety on their depth chart outside of the youngster Damani Richardson. Xavier Woods, Jordan Fuller, Nick Scott, Sam Franklin, Lonnie Johnson, all free agents. Pretty much everyone whose name you know as a special teamer. Long snapper, J.J. Jansen. Kicker, Eddie Pinheiro. Punter, Johnny Hecker. All free agents. So the I don't want to call it a lazy question, but the surface question is, who do you want back? Who looks at you there and you say, I like that player, we should bring them back? Yeah. But also, I think that's kind of the byproduct of the answer to other questions. Where do you want to add young stars? Then fill in the rest with vets, and that might be bringing someone back. I read an entire article about, just came out recently, about Shaq Thompson and where he is in his career. And I went in expecting to learn a bunch about Shaq Thompson. But guess who I learned a bunch about? Thomas Davis. Why? Because it told, basically Shaq Thompson was going like, now I'm the old guy. I'm up here talking about trying to hang on and trying to continue to play, and I want to stay with Carolina. But they've drafted Trevin Wallace, and they've brought in younger guys, and who knows where I fit in their plans, which is exactly where Thomas Davis was early in Shaq Thompson's career. And now they played 3 or 4 years together. They overlapped, but it was a good revisit of Thomas Davis, right? Because played on a Superbowl team. He was a Pro Bowler. He had some. He's the all-time franchise leading tackles, about 20 more than Luke Kuechly. Like he's that dude, but he finished his career elsewhere. And I don't think that says anything about Thomas Davis. It says something about Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson was one of the young players in their core that they wanted to build around, so they had to let Thomas Davis go. Which young players are there, and then whoever the older guys are at that position, they're going to have to go anyway. The others you might want to keep around. It's, do you, this offseason, are you looking at the draft, and they got a bunch of picks, do you see a deep safety draft where you can add one in the draft, or do you have one you want to target in free agency? If you have that, cool. If not, you might want to stay in touch with somebody like Xavier Woods for the right price. You might want to stay in touch with someone like Jordan Fuller or Nick Scott or Sam Franklin for the right price. Depth for some of those guys. Do you want to spend more at center? Do you want to use a draft pick at center in addition to the $153 million in contracts you dished out last offseason to a couple of guards and the expected big payout that will be necessary to keep somebody like Ike Ekwonu around for a while? And Taylor Moton's already making big money. Do you want to spend even more at center? If not, you could do a lot worse than Corbett or Christensen. But the questions aren't about those guys as much as they are about the young core that you're growing, the young core that you are trying to water and give nutrients to and sunlight and blossom into an oak tree. That's what you're looking at, right? I mean, Tommy Tremble, I like. Ian Thomas as a blocker, I think is for the right price somebody that'll be on an NFL roster next year. The question on if you bring them back is how much do you want to depend on Jadeveon Sanders, and is there someone else younger, cheaper, draft-worthy, free agent-worthy that you want to bring in to take the tight end room to another level? The one that I would answer differently than all the rest is Andy Dalton. I would be interested in keeping Andy Dalton. Again, everything is price dependent, right? He's got to be willing to come back for a total that I'm okay with. But he and Bryce, they navigated the impossible this year. The fact that every time you cut to either of them, no matter who was starting, who was playing, or how well they were playing, they were on the sideline, they were chatting a lot. That's a very difficult situation to navigate as the veteran and the rookie. And I know Bryce Young got a lot of credit for how he handled everything mentally, but so should Andy Dalton. And for all of the craziness that took place between week 1 and the final week of the season, where Bryce got better, I'm not sure you want to change much in that incubator. Right? I'm not sure you want to change much in that environment that Bryce improved so greatly within. So Andy Dalton is somebody I would bring back again for the right price. Andy showed he might not be as good as he once was, but he might be as good once as he ever was. He can give you a game or two if you need to go to him for a sprained thumb or something from Bryce. My point is, who do you want out of the unrestricted free agents is a question that can only be answered with, well, have you done your evaluation, your preliminary evaluations on the draft? Have you done your preliminary evaluations on free agency? If there is a place where you don't think there is any value or you think it's a very shallow draft, I think you look to those veterans that you may trust and try to bring them back first. It's not just do you like them. They probably like all the guys, honestly. It seemed like everybody in that locker room they were on like a camping trip or something this year. Everybody just had a good time.
Every time I went to the locker room, you can tell that this group knew, hey, we're working on building something here.
That's why you need the lesson learned in Moneyball by Jonah Hill. I might have to cut him, so I don't want to become friends with him. The front office has to make those decisions, but I believe they would like, at the right price, a lot of these guys back. The reason I wouldn't bring a lot of them back or all of them back is because you don't want them to suffocate younger players who need that space to flourish. And there's a lot of young guys that I like.
Very few guys on defense I bring back. When you literally have the worst defense in the NFL, I would not bring very many of these guys back. It's as simple as that. You mentioned Jordan Fuller. The guy was literally a healthy scratch late in the season for Damani Richardson. Writing on the wall, you ain't coming back, bud.
I like Damani. The one thing I would, obviously. The one thing I would say is I don't mind bringing guys back. I don't want to call it a demotion, but we talk about it with receivers because it's most easy, most like obvious and easy to comprehend. If you're a wide receiver 2 and I don't like you there, but I can bring you back as a wide receiver 4, like that's one thing. If I don't like you as a starting safety, but you can be a special teamer and depth safety, that's different. So it's players have to be honest with themselves, and if they can go make starter money elsewhere, that's hey, go listen to your agent, go do you. Same is true for somebody like Ian Thomas. If Ian Thomas is aware that he's a third tackle and I'm going to do everything I can to never attempt to pass to him, and he's willing to take the money that comes with that, I might be more interested in him at tight end. If he wants to go be an every down tight end and catch 30 balls a year, I wish you luck in your future endeavors elsewhere. So I agree the defense was bad. I don't agree necessarily that everyone on that defense that was bad doesn't have a role in the NFL moving forward. It's just probably not being depended upon as much as they were this year. And I say probably, almost certainly not being depended upon as much as they were this year.